Before you start installing NorthQ Power Reader, you must familiarize yourself with the type of power meter you have and where it's located. For example, is the meter outside or in a cabinet or something similar that you'll have to open to access the meter? Many different types of power meters are available, but NorthQ Power Reader works with almost all power meters on the market, both new and old. There are two types of meters, mechanical and electronic. On a mechanical meter, the electricity consumption is read by using a rotating disc seen at the front of the meter. The disc rotates a certain number of times per kilowatt hour. This is called the rotation factor, and the number of rotations per kilowatt hour varies according to the model and brand, but it's always displayed on the meter itself. On an electronic electric meter, the electricity consumption is read by using an LED that blinks a certain number of times per 1 kilowatt hour. This is called the impulse factor. The number of flashes per kilowatt hour also varies according to the model and brand, but is displayed on the meter itself. Some electronic meters will blink with infrared light, which isn't visible to the human eye, but these can also be read by NorthQ Power Reader. It may help to clean the meter with a damp cloth to ensure that NorthQ Power Reader will be able to read the consumption properly. It's important to choose the correct information regarding meter type and conversion factor. You'll typically find the information on the front of the meter, either on a metal plate on mechanical meters or on a label on electronic meters. Note this information down while standing by the meter. It'll be handy when you have to type the information into your computer. To take full advantage of the features in NorthQ Power Reader, you should also have an annual or interim statement from your utility at hand. On your annual statement from the utility, you're able to estimate how much 1 kilowatt hour costs. Enter this information into NorthQ Power Reader in order to track your costs more precisely. Some utilities also inform how much CO2 is produced per 1 kilowatt hour. Enter this information if you want to track your CO2 emissions more precisely. The information from the utility can also be entered after you've completed the installation. Finally, open the box containing your NorthQ Power Reader and ensure that you have all the necessary parts. Press Next when you're ready to continue the NorthQ Power Reader installation wizard. Step 2. User Setup. In Step 2, select the sensor type and enter the conversion factor for the power meter that NorthQ Power Reader needs to be installed to. Here, you also have the option to select and enter the information that forms the basis for NorthQ Power Reader's calculation of your consumption in kilowatt hours, costs and CO2 emissions. Press Next when you're ready to proceed with the installation. Step 3. Assembling the wireless transmitter. You can now assemble the wireless transmitter. Start by taking the sensor cable and plug it into the wireless transmitter. Please note that the plug is only fully inserted when a little click is heard. It's important that the sensor cable is fully depressed, because otherwise the reading will be inaccurate. Place the bracket on the back of the transmitter and attach it with the 3 small screws using the enclosed screwdriver. This ensures that the sensor cable is properly connected. There's a sticker on the front of the wireless transmitter with instructions about how the transmitter is to be placed by the meter. Remove the sticker and you can save it for reference for when the transmitter is permanently installed by the meter. Finally, insert the 2 enclosed batteries in the bottom of the wireless transmitter. Press Next when you've finished assembling the wireless transmitter and you're ready to proceed with establishing a wireless connection between the transmitter and your computer. Step 4. Creating a wireless connection. Now you'll have to create the wireless connection between the transmitter and your computer. NorthQ Power Reader communicates with the wireless transmitter by using the enclosed USB receiver. Therefore, you must insert the receiver into an available USB port on your computer. The wireless transmitter can store up to 60 days of measurable data. But remember, it can only transfer data to NorthQ Power Reader when the USB receiver is inserted. Wait for the USB receiver to be recognized by the computer. It may take several minutes. If the receiver isn't recognized, you can either try another USB port or restart the computer with the USB receiver inserted and then resume the NorthQ Power Reader installation. When the USB receiver is recognized by the computer, you can create the wireless connection. This is done by pressing the sensor button on the bottom of the transmitter 3 times. The LED will flash 3 times in response. This will create a wireless connection between the USB receiver in your computer and the wireless transmitter. You will see the LED blink 1 more time on the transmitter when the connection has been established, and the message "Transmitter found" will appear on your computer screen. Press Next when you're ready to move on to Step 5. Step 5. Checking the wireless range. Before you install the transmitter at your meter, you should check whether the transmitter is within wireless range of the USB receiver. The range is normally about 15 to 20 meters inside a home, but it can vary greatly depending on the type of building you live in. Press the sensor button 4 times when you're standing by the electricity meter where you intend to place the wireless transmitter. The transmitter will blink 4 times in response to indicate that the wireless range is now being examined. The USB receiver in your computer will now try to make contact with the wireless transmitter every second for the next 10 seconds. If the wireless transmitter is within range, you'll see the LED light up. The longer the LED shines, the better the wireless signal. If the LED shines constantly for 10 seconds, it means that there's a good connection between the transmitter and the receiver. If the LED flashes at all during the 10-second test, it means that there is contact between the transmitter and the receiver, but that you'll experience problems with the connection. If this happens, you should consider placing the transmitter and the receiver closer together if that's possible. A long cable between the sensor head and the transmitter enables you to position the transmitter wherever the connection is best. If the LED doesn't light up at all, it means that the transmitter is outside the range of the receiver, and you'll need to move the transmitter and the receiver closer together in order to gather data. On your computer screen, you'll be able to read a brief summary that tells you how good the range is between the wireless transmitter and the USB receiver. Press Next to continue to instructions about how to place the sensor head onto your power meter. Step 6. Installation on a mechanical meter. To help you ensure correct positioning of the sensor onto your meter, a template is supplied. Start by removing the template from the white background by gently pulling slip 1 on the left-hand corner of the template. Place the template on the meter so that the horizontal line is flush with the rotation disc, and where the left-hand side vertical line is aligned with the markings on the middle of the meter. It's important that you're very careful about placing the template correctly, as NorthQ Power Reader won't be able to read your electricity consumption if the template isn't properly positioned. When the template is in place, you should carefully pull slip 2 in order to remove the middle section of the template. You can now position the sensor head on the meter. The sensor head should be placed in the middle of the template, so that the 2 vertical lines on the template line up with the same lines that are etched into the surface of the sensor head. Remove the 2 pieces of red plastic that cover the adhesive pads on the front of the sensor head, and then attach the sensor head onto the meter. Meter adjustment. As NorthQ Power Reader must be able to work on a wide variety of mechanical meters, a simple automatic meter adjustment is necessary. This is simply done by pressing the sensor button 5 times. The LED on the transmitter will then begin to blink rapidly. You'll see that the LED will begin to blink more slowly as the adjustment is completed. Once the adjustment has been completed, you'll see that the LED on the wireless transmitter only flashes when the cursor on the rotating disc passes the sensor head. If you experience problems with the meter adjustment, try placing the sensor head closer to the rotation disc, for example, on the side of the meter. It might also be necessary to place the sensor on the side if there are any major scratches or imperfections on the front of the meter. Before returning to your computer, you should write down the total meter consumption. In other words, the total number of kilowatt hours that have been used since the meter was originally installed. Step 6. Installation on an electronic power meter. To help you ensure correct positioning of the sensor onto your meter, a template is supplied. Start by removing the template from the white background by gently pulling slip 1 on the left-hand corner of the template. The template should be placed above the LED on the power meter, where the horizontal line and the right-hand side vertical line cross. It's important that you're very careful about placing the template correctly, as NorthQ Power Reader won't be able to read your electricity consumption if the template isn't properly positioned. When the template is in place, you should carefully pull slip 2 in order to remove the middle section of the template. You can now position the sensor head on the meter. The sensor head should be placed in the middle of the template, so that the 2 vertical lines on the template line up with the same lines that are etched into the surface of the sensor head. Remove the 2 pieces of red plastic that cover the adhesive pads on the front of the sensor head and then attach the sensor head onto the meter. Before returning to your computer, you should write down the total meter consumption. In other words, the total number of kilowatt hours that have been used since the meter was originally installed. Step 7. Enter the meter's total consumption. Enter the meter's total consumption into your NorthQ Power Reader. You can use this figure in the future as a control function if you want to examine whether the wireless transmitter reads electricity consumption correctly. Finally, click Setup Completed to complete installation. You'll only have to wait approximately 30 minutes before your NorthQ Power Reader will have gathered enough data to begin displaying tables and graphs regarding your electricity consumption. However, you can immediately read your current wattage consumption in the bottom of the widget as long as your NorthQ Power Reader is in real-time mode. Real-time mode. When NorthQ Power Reader is in real-time mode, consumption data will be transferred from the wireless transmitter to the USB receiver every 5 seconds. This feature is useful if you want to examine your current wattage consumption, or if you simply don't want to wait for the collected consumption data to be automatically transferred to your NorthQ Power Reader. When in real-time mode, you'll see that the LED on the wireless transmitter flashes every time the black marker on the rotating disc passes the sensor head, or when the LED on your electronic meter flashes. The more often you use the real-time mode, the more often you'll have to change the batteries, as the function uses more power than normal mode operation. Battery life expectancy is about 1.5 years for electronic meters and about a year for mechanical meters. If you don't wish to use the real-time mode for a full 10-minute period, press the sensor button twice and NorthQ Power Reader will immediately return to normal mode. Normal mode. NorthQ Power Reader operates using 2 AA batteries in the wireless transmitter. To extend the lifetime of the batteries, the consumption data from the meter is only transferred to your computer every 15 minutes. This means that it may take up to 15 minutes until new consumption data is received after inserting the USB receiver into your computer. However, remember that at any time you can choose to switch the NorthQ power reader into real-time mode by pressing the sensor button once. While waiting to receive the first NorthQ power reader data report, you can attend to the final installation of the wireless transmitter and sensor cable using the remaining components in the package. You can also familiarize yourself with the NorthQ power reader software and all the features that it offers. In addition to speedily giving you detailed consumption information, NorthQ Power Reader lets you share this data and create awareness about electricity consumption on both Facebook and Twitter. It also provides you with RSS news feeds and much more besides. Enjoy using your NorthQ Power Reader.